What if the reason you feel lost in midlife is because you've been using the wrong word? If you've ever found yourself saying, I don't even know who I am anymore, or I feel like I've lost myself, this video is for you. I'm Michele, and I help women in midlife come back to themselves through small, steady steps that rebuild self-trust. And today I want to offer a different perspective on what it really means to feel lost. Feeling lost can show up in ways that don't always stand out. Sometimes it feels like you're going through the motions, looking around your life and wondering why everything that used to feel familiar suddenly feels different. Sometimes it feels like being surrounded by people you love and still feeling invisible, like you've disappeared somewhere inside your own life. You may not know what you enjoy anymore. Maybe you don't even know what you hate. You might find yourself looking at other women and thinking everyone else seems to know exactly who they are while you're still trying to figure it out. And after a while, it's easy to come to the conclusion that you feel lost or that you've lost yourself. But what if it's not actually true? What if you're not lost at all? Have you ever had a friend that you were once incredibly close to, you talked all the time, and you knew what was happening in each other's lives, right? You were connected. Then life got busy. Careers, kids, responsibilities, maybe distance. You didn't stop caring about each other. You didn't stop being friends. You just stopped connecting regularly. And then the circumstances allow you again. And within minutes, it feels familiar again because that connection had been quiet for a long time, but it wasn't gone, not altogether. I think that's what happens with us. We assume that we've lost ourselves. More often, we've simply lost that connection with ourselves. And those are two very different things. Lost sounds very permanent. Disconnected sounds repairable. Lost makes it sound hopeless, where disconnected sounds human. Feeling lost isn't always proof that you've disappeared. Sometimes it's an invitation to reconnect with yourself in this season, a season that you've never lived before. And if this conversation is resonating with you, I share gentle reminders and simple ways to reconnect with yourself each week in my newsletter, The Simple Stride Snapshot. It's a weekly pause and it helps you come back to yourself without a lot of pressure to change or to keep up. I'll put the link below. And today I'd like to offer you one simple stride that you can try. It's so easy and it takes very little. Take a piece of paper and write one sentence. What feels good right now? Not what should feel good, not what used to feel good, not what everyone else enjoys. What feels good for me right now? What brings you a simple joy? Is it your morning coffee? Is it sitting on the porch? Is it hearing the birds outside your window or a conversation with someone you love? You don't need to solve your whole life today. You don't need to rediscover yourself all at once. Just reconnect with one thing that feels good in this moment. And once you stop seeing yourself as lost, the next question becomes, how do I actually start feeling like myself again? And that's what we're going to talk about next week. Last year, after my mom passed away, there was a season when I felt lost again. And that surprised me because I had already done so much work reconnecting with myself over the most recent years. But grief changed the landscape of my life. And I wasn't back at the beginning, though. I was learning how to reconnect with myself in a season that I had never lived before. And maybe that's where you are too. Maybe you're not lost. Maybe you're grieving. Maybe you're changing. Maybe you're entering a new chapter in your life, or simply being invited to reconnect with yourself in a way that this season requires. And that's a very different story than believing that you've disappeared. If this feels like you, continue with me in the next video in this series, where we're going to be talking about how to start feeling like yourself again without reinventing your entire life. And if you'd like support as you continue coming back to yourself, be sure to hit subscribe and join the newsletter. And I'll see you next week.